The broadcast began without music. No warning, no drama. Across the galaxy, screens turned on by themselves. On space stations, in alien cities, inside human homes, the same image appeared at the same time. A single platform stood in the center of a vast metal arena. Cold light shined down from above. Thousands of alien soldiers filled the stands, their armor dark and sharp, their eyes glowing with pride. At the center of the platform stood a human. He was not in chains, he was not fighting. He wore a white medical coat. The coat was torn at the sleeves and stained with dark blood. Not his own. Alien blood. Blood from enemies he had tried to save. His name was Dr. Elias Monroe. He was a human combat medic, captured weeks ago during a border conflict between humanity and the Krell Dominion. Unlike soldiers, he carried no weapon. His hands were trained to stop bleeding, not cause it. But the Krell did not care. To them, mercy was weakness. The commander of the arena stepped forward. He was tall, armored, and surrounded by guards. His voice echoed across the arena and through every broadcast channel. Today, the commander said, the galaxy learns a lesson. Behind him, a massive screen activated. It showed images of Dr. Monroe treating wounded Krell soldiers on the battlefield. He was seen sealing burns, stopping blood loss, even giving water to enemies who had tried to kill him hours earlier. This human saved our warriors, the commander continued. He disobeyed the natural law of war. The alien crowd hissed in anger. They did not see kindness, they saw betrayal. The commander turned toward Dr. Monroe. You were ordered to let them die, he said. Why didn't you? Dr. Monroe lifted his head. His face was bruised, one eye was swollen shut, but his voice was calm. Because they were hurt, he replied, and I am a medic. The arena went silent. The commander laughed. A weak answer, he said, and weakness must be erased. He turned back to the camera. This execution is live, he announced. Let all humans watch. Let them see the price of mercy. Across human space, families froze in place. Soldiers stopped breathing, medics everywhere felt their hands shake. They recognized the white coat. They recognized the oath. Back on the platform, Dr. Monroe was given one last chance. Kneel, the commander said. Beg for your life, deny your oath. Dr. Monroe did not move. Instead, he looked directly into the main camera. He knew humans were watching. He knew medics were watching. He spoke slowly, clearly. I was trained to save lives, he said. All lives. If that is a crime, then I accept the punishment. The commander's eyes narrowed. Any final words, he asked. Dr. Monroe paused for a moment. Then he said, take care of each other. The execution device activated. Energy fields locked around his body. The light grew brighter. Pain crossed his face, but he did not scream. The alien crowd roared in approval. The broadcast did not cut away. It stayed focused as the life faded from his eyes. When it was over, the commander raised his weapon. Let this be remembered, he said. Human mercy ends today. The screen went black. For several seconds, nothing happened. Then across the galaxy, something strange occurred. Human channels did not explode with anger. There were no threats. No messages. No response at all. Every human military signal went silent at the same moment. Deep inside human command space, ancient systems began to wake. Protocols older than the war. Older than the Krell. And the first rule burned bright across hidden screens. A medic has been executed. Humanity has noticed. The Krell Dominion waited for chaos. They expected human fleets to rush forward in blind anger. They prepared defenses, charged weapons, and placed warships near every border. Analysts spoke with confidence. They said humans were emotional, loud, and easy to provoke. But hours passed. Nothing happened. No human ships moved. No threats were sent. No protests filled the public channels. Human space went completely quiet. To the Krell, this silence felt strange but not dangerous. At first, they laughed. See? One Krell official said. They are afraid we broke them. Yet deep inside the Dominion's intelligence corps, some officers felt uneasy. Silence in war was never normal. Not like this. Human trade routes shut down. Civilian broadcasts stopped. Even entertainment channels vanished. It was as if humanity had stepped out of the galaxy. On distant alien worlds, neutral species began to whisper. They had seen humans fight before. They knew humans shouted, argued, and threatened when angry. This was different. This was calm. And calm scared them. Inside a hidden human command station, buried deep beneath layers of rock and shielded by ancient technology, screens slowly came alive. Dust fell from forgotten consoles. Lights that had not shined in centuries flickered on. A single message appeared, written in plain human text. Medic Zero protocol confirmed. No alarm sounded, no voices spoke. The system did not need them. Medic Zero was not a battle plan. It was a promise. Long ago, after humanity's first brutal wars in space, humans had made a rule stronger than any law. Medics were sacred. They carried no weapons. They crossed enemy lines to save the wounded. They were to be protected, always. If that rule was ever broken, everything changed. The system sent quiet signals across human territory. Not loud messages, just short pulses impossible for aliens to detect. Old ships woke up in forgotten docks. AI cores shifted from sleep to focus. Coordinates updated. No human leader gave an order. The order already existed. Far away on a Krell observation station, an officer noticed something odd. Long-range sensors detected movement, small, controlled movements, but not fleets. Single ships. White ships. They moved slowly, calmly, without stealth or fear. The officer frowned. "These are not war vessels," he said. "Their markings are medical." Panic rippled through the room. Medical ships did not come to fight. They came to heal. Or to judge. Back on the Krell capital world, the commander who had ordered the execution celebrated. He watched reports with satisfaction. No human response meant success. "They have learned their place," he said proudly. But his celebration ended when his personal display activated on its own. A human symbol appeared, simple, red and white. Then text followed. No threats. No insults. Just words. "You executed one who saved lives." The commander laughed and turned away. The message continued. "You broadcast it to the galaxy." His laughter faded. "You showed us who you are." The screen changed again. It now showed a list. Names, ranks, locations. Every Krell officer who had approved the execution, including his own. His armor suddenly felt heavy. Across the Dominion, similar messages appeared, not everywhere. Only where they were needed, only to those responsible. Then the messages ended. At the edge of Krell space, an outpost lost power. No explosion, no warning, just silence. The station vanished from sensors as if it had never existed. Moments later, a data packet arrived at Krell Command. Inside was a medical report. Cause of death, painless. Time of death, exact. Civilians harmed, 0. Attached was a single line. "This is not war." Fear finally entered the Dominion. The silence was over. And the galaxy began to understand. Humanity was not angry. Humanity was focused. And when humans focused, they did not miss. Fear moved faster than chips. Across the Krell Dominion, commanders stopped sleeping. Every screen, every shadow, every signal felt like a warning. The silence that once felt empty now felt alive, watching. Human ships still did not gather in fleets. They came alone. White halls, clean lines, red medical symbols glowing softly against the dark of space. They did not hide. They did not rush. They arrived exactly where they were meant to be. On a distant Krell military station, alarms suddenly rang. Officers rushed to their posts, expecting missiles or boarding craft. None came. Instead, a single human vessel stopped outside the station, perfectly aligned with its central dock. Its engines powered down. A message appeared on the station's main screen. "This facility holds one individual responsible for the execution of a human medic." The Krell officers shouted orders. Weapons were charged, shields raised. The human ship did nothing. Then the message continued. "We are not here to fight you." A pause. "We are here for him." The station commander laughed nervously. "You will not take one of us," he said. "This is sovereign space." The reply was immediate. "Incorrect. This is accountable space." Without warning, the station's internal systems went quiet. Doors unlocked. Security fields dropped. Power remained, but control vanished. The human ship docked. No soldiers emerged. Only medics. They wore white armor, marked with red crosses and human symbols. Their hands carried tools, not weapons. Their faces were calm, almost gentle. Krell guards stepped back in confusion. They had trained their entire lives to fight enemies, not doctors. The medics walked directly to the command chamber. They stopped in front of one Krell officer. "You authorized the execution," one medic said. The officer tried to speak. No sound came out. "You will come with us," the medic continued. "You will not be harmed. You will be judged." The officer was taken. The human medics left the station the same way they entered, without resistance, without bloodshed. Minutes later, a message was broadcast across Krell space. The officer was dead. Cause of death: natural failure of vital systems triggered without pain. Medical confirmation attached. This pattern repeated. Across the Dominion, one commander after another vanished. Human ships appeared, took only one person, and left. No explosions, no battles, no civilian deaths. The galaxy watched in shock. Other species began to understand something terrifying. Humans were not attacking out of hate. They were enforcing a rule. Long ago, humans had written it into their history with blood and regret. Medics were not warriors. They were the line between life and death. To harm one was to declare yourself outside all mercy. Inside human space, memorial lights turned on. Hospitals paused their work for 1 minute of silence. Medics everywhere placed their hands over their hearts. They did not cry. They remembered. They remembered battlefields where medics ran into fire. They remembered enemies saved because it was right. They remembered Dr. Elias Monroe. The oath echoed through human networks, shared without words. Save lives. Protect those who save lives. Never forgive those who break this law. The Krell Emperor finally spoke. His message was shaky. "This response is excessive," he said. "You could have declared war." The human reply came from a medical AI, not a general. "This is not war," it said. "War harms many. This harms only the guilty." The Emperor demanded to know when it would stop. The answer was simple. When the last name on the list is crossed out. At the edge of the Dominion, one final Krell fortress prepared for defense. The commander inside it had ordered the execution personally. He believed humans would finally fight. He was wrong. The human ship arrived alone. It did not fire. It sent one message. "We remember our oath." Inside the fortress, systems failed. The commander collapsed, his heart stopping gently, perfectly. Outside, the human ship waited. Then it left. The list was complete. Across the galaxy, a new understanding settled in. Humanity did not worship war. Humanity worshipped responsibility. And anyone who harmed a human medic would face something worse than death. They would face judgment. The galaxy expected it to end. The list was finished. The guilty were gone. Many believed humanity would return to silence and leave the Krell Dominion broken but alive. They were wrong. Judgment had been delivered. Now came the lesson. Human fleets finally appeared, but not in the way anyone expected. They did not gather in massive armadas. They did not block stars or darken skies. Instead, small groups of ships arrived at key Krell military worlds. Each ship was different in shape, but all carried the same mark. White hulls. Red medical symbols. No visible weapons. Krell commanders panicked. How can medical ships be a threat, some asked. Others already knew the answer. Because humans never wasted motion. The first demonstration came at the Krell military forge world of Vraxon. This planet built weapons for half the Dominion. Millions worked there. The factories ran day and night. Human ships arrived and held position above the planet. No warning shots were fired. No demands were made. Then quietly the factories shut down. Not exploded. Not burned. Simply stopped. Machines froze mid-motion. Energy cores powered down safely. Workers walked out unharmed, confused but alive. Krell engineers screamed in panic. Every system had been targeted with perfect care. Nothing essential to life was damaged. But nothing useful for war worked anymore. A human message followed. This facility produces tools of death. Pause. We remove only what creates suffering. The message ended. Across the Dominion, similar events unfolded. Shipyards lost their guidance systems. Weapon labs lost their data. Military academies found their records erased. Human strikes were quiet, exact, and clean. Not a single civilian died. That terrified the galaxy more than destruction ever could. On neutral worlds, alien historians began comparing data. They noticed something chilling. Every human action followed medical logic. Targets were chosen like diseased organs. Strikes were precise like surgery. Nothing healthy was harmed. Human war was not chaos. It was treatment. The Krell Emperor watched reports in disbelief. You are dismantling us, he said in a desperate broadcast. This is war by another name. The human response came from a calm, steady voice. No, it said. War is uncontrolled harm, this is correction. The Emperor demanded to know why humans continued after punishment had already been given. The answer was simple. You taught the galaxy that medics can be killed without consequence. Pause. We are correcting that belief. Human ships began broadcasting a single image across the galaxy. Dr. Elias Monroe, alive, smiling, treating a wounded Krell soldier. This is what you destroyed, the message said. And this is what we protect. Krell soldiers began refusing orders. Some laid down their weapons, others removed their armor and fled. They understood now. Humans were not enemies to be fought. They were a force that rewrote rules. At the edges of Krell space, a human fleet stopped near a civilian world. Panic erupted. Evacuation alarms screamed. But the human ships did nothing. Instead, medical shuttles descended. They brought supplies, medicine, food, clean water. Krell civilians stared in shock as human medics treated their sick and injured. Why help us, one asked. A human medic answered softly. Because we are still medics. That moment broke something inside the Dominion. The contrast was unbearable. Killing a medic had brought healers to their worlds and fear to their leaders. The Emperor's council collapsed. Generals argued, worlds demanded peace. Finally, the Emperor sent a final message. We surrender, he said, name your terms. The human reply was immediate. We do not want your worlds. Pause. We want your promise. A galaxy-wide law was transmitted. Medics are protected. Medical ships are neutral. Anyone who harms them will face humanity. No negotiation. No edits. The Emperor signed. Across the stars, other species watched and learned. Humanity had shown them something new. A way to fight without cruelty. A way to punish without hate. A way to make mercy terrifying. The message of surrender echoed across the Krell Dominion. For the first time in their long history, the Krell admitted defeat without a final battle. Their fleets remained docked. Their weapons stayed silent. Every world waited. And they waited for humans. The Emperor of the Krell stood alone in the Great Council chamber. The room was vast, built to intimidate enemies and inspire fear. Now it felt empty. A single human ship appeared above the capital world. It did not block the sun. It did not threaten the planet. It simply waited. Inside the chamber, a human delegation appeared. Not through doors, but through light. A controlled projection, precise and safe. No soldiers, no guards. Only humans in simple uniforms. At their center stood a woman in a white coat. She spoke first. We are here to end this. The Emperor straightened himself. You have already ended it, he said bitterly. Our military is crippled. Our leaders are gone. What more do you want? The woman did not raise her voice. We want what you refused to give, Dr. Elias Monroe. The Emperor's eyes flickered. Respect, she continued, for life. Silence filled the chamber. The Emperor finally spoke again. Why didn't you destroy us, he asked. You had the power, everyone saw it. The human woman looked directly at him. Because destruction teaches nothing, she said. Memory does. She gestured and images filled the chamber. Worlds being healed. Krell civilians treated by human medics. Children receiving medicine instead of bombs. This, she said, is what we fight for. The Emperor's voice shook. You punish without hatred, that is terrifying. Yes, the woman replied. It is meant to be. The Emperor lowered himself, not in defeat, but in humility. We ask for mercy, he said. Not for our leaders, for our people. The human delegation was silent for a long moment. Then the woman spoke. Mercy is not free. A document appeared in the air. A binding galactic law. Medics are neutral. Medical facilities are protected. Harming a medic is a crime against all species. Violators will face human enforcement. The Emperor read every word. And if we refuse? He asked quietly. The woman's answer was calm. Then we continue. He signed. The moment the seal activated, human ships across Krell space powered down their operations. Systems returned to normal. Trade lanes reopened. Food and medical aid flowed in. The galaxy exhaled. But something had changed forever. On worlds far from Krell space, alien governments rushed to update their laws. Military academies rewrote their rules. Soldiers were retrained. Because everyone understood one thing now. Humanity did not fight to conquer. Humanity fought to protect its values. On Earth, a quiet ceremony took place. No crowds. No speeches. A single flag covered a simple grave. Dr. Elias Monroe. Medics stood in silence. Soldiers saluted. Civilians watched from a distance. A child asked her mother, was he a hero? The mother thought for a moment. He was a medic, she said. Across the stars, medical ships now traveled safely through war zones. Even ancient enemies paused their battles when white ships appeared. The story spread, not as a warning, as a rule. If you attack a human soldier, expect war. If you attack a human world, expect resistance. But if you kill a human medic, humanity will come, quietly, carefully, and without mercy for the guilty. The Krell Emperor often looked at the stars after that. He remembered the execution. He remembered the silence. And he understood the final truth too late. The most dangerous thing in the galaxy was not human anger. It was human restraint. The war was over. But the story was not. Long after the last human ship left Krell space, the galaxy continued to feel the echo of what had happened. Borders were redrawn, laws were rewritten, and old beliefs quietly died. Yet one thing remained alive. The name Dr. Elias Monroe. On Earth, the sky was gray the day they buried him. Rain fell softly, as if the planet itself understood the weight of the moment. There were no grand parades, no loud music, no proud speeches. Only silence. Medics stood in clean white coats. Soldiers stood behind them, unarmed. Civilians watched from a distance, unsure how to act around such quiet power. A simple stone marked the grave. No rank. No medals. Just words. He saved lives. Across human space, every medical facility paused for exactly 60 seconds. Machines continued working. Patients continued breathing. But hands stopped moving. In that minute, no one spoke. They remembered. They remembered battlefields lit by fire and fear. They remembered medics running forward when everyone else ran back. They remembered an oath older than nations. Other species noticed. On distant worlds, alien leaders replayed the execution broadcast not for pleasure but for study. Military scholars analyzed humanity's response again and again, trying to understand it. They failed, because it was not strategy. It was belief. Slowly, changes began to spread. Alien armies repainted ships with medical symbols. Battlefields created safe paths for medics. Even pirates learned to power down weapons when white ships appeared. Fear enforced the rule, but respect kept it alive. Years passed. The Krell Dominion survived, smaller and quieter. Their emperor aged quickly, carrying the weight of memory. He ordered monuments built, not to celebrate power but to warn against cruelty. On the largest one, carved in stone, were words written in many languages. Do not harm those who heal. Humanity did not patrol the galaxy. They did not need to. The idea of them was enough. One day, on a remote world caught in a brutal civil war, fighting suddenly stopped. Soldiers on both sides froze as a human medical ship descended between them. Weapons lowered. Wounded were carried forward. A young alien soldier watched a human medic treat his enemy with the same care given to an ally. Why help him? The soldier asked. The medic did not look up. Because tomorrow, he said, he might be the one saving you. That answer spread faster than any weapon. Back on Earth, children learned the story in school, not as a tale of revenge, but as a lesson. Their teachers did not say humans are strongest when they fight. They said humans are strongest when they protect what matters. In time, the execution broadcast faded from public screens. But the final image, Dr. Monroe standing calm in his white coat, remained burned into history. Not as a victim, as a line no one dared cross again. Far beyond known space, ancient species observed quietly. They had seen empires rise and fall. They had seen cruelty rewarded and kindness crushed. Humanity confused them. Humans were fragile, emotional, short-lived, yet they had built something rare. A rule enforced not by rage but by unity. A warning carried not by fleets but by memory. And that made them dangerous in a way no empire had ever been. In the end, the galaxy learned the truth too late to forget it. You can defeat humans in battle. You can outnumber them. You can even kill them. But if you kill one who has sworn to save lives, humanity will answer. Not loudly, not wildly, but with a calm that freezes stars. And that is the legacy of the medic. Not death, but a promise that will never be broken.